Welcome to the fourth episode of the podcast, How Universities Can Help to Tackle Urban Challenges, Learnings from Ghent. In this series, we're exploring the many ways in which cities and their universities can collaborate, and we're especially focusing on community-based research and learning and what makes Ghent so good at it. I'm Sara, your host, and in this segment of the series, we'll be looking at 5 practical cases from Ghent that really demonstrate how collaboration between the city and higher education work on the ground. For each example, I'm going to have a bite-sized conversation with a team member leading the initiative. We'll be trying to get under the bonnet of these innovative approaches to find out the secrets to their success, getting some top tips on how to go about replicating this type of approach in other cities, and hearing about what's next. The 5 initiatives you'll hear about in this episode are Learning Labs, Comon, Call for Challenges, Campus in the Neighbourhood, and the Stadsacademie. So let's get started with our first guest, Isabelle Vandevyvere from Artevelde University of Applied Sciences. Hello, Isabelle.
Hello.
Great to have you here. Welcome in our studio. Maybe before we start, can you first explain what the Learning Labs are and elaborate on your role within the Learning Labs?
If you talk about a learning lab, it's because we focused on the learning within a lab.
Okay.
But actually, when you go more in depth, it's very difficult to figure out what a common definition is on labs in general, to be honest. So it's better to have like a frame where we talk about. And I think it's better to name it as learning within a living lab than talking about a learning lab as such.
Yes, and what is your role within the Learning
So
Labs?
actually, I'm together with another colleague, Lieven de Samville. I'm the founder of it.
Okay. So 3ID Labs is organized within Artevelde University for Applied Sciences. What makes it unique?
It's very unique because it's not a linear program. So you cannot follow 3ID Labs as a course. You step into it. It's a learning community. You have a team. And with that team, you work on wicked problems. It's also very unique, and I think it's not the same in other places, is that it is an international, interdisciplinary, intergenerational design approach. And it means we have all levels of higher education, we have researchers, we have non-academic people involved. We function as a pre-incubator, and we solve problems from organizations, companies, and entrepreneurs. It's also possible that a particular stakeholder bring his own case as an entrepreneur. We focus on sustainable developmental goals, and we measure with the Intercomp, which is a European framework to measure entrepreneurial competence. And a very important thing is that the community is open all the time for every stakeholder. So 24 hours a day, 7 a week.
You involve different parties in the Learning Labs. What motivates these partners to be involved in the Learning Labs?
If we talk about the learners, I would say that they really look for another experience than the traditional education. If you look to another party which is involved in the Living Lab, then I talk about the external people from organizations or public sectors or even entrepreneurs. Then it surprised us that those people were very interested related to the soft skills, the generic competences, let's say, but also the recruitment. And that was something we weren't aware of in the beginning. A lot of external people came as experts for free to work with us, because for them there was like an added value seeing the learners growing and then take them on the floor within their recruitment.
Can you maybe walk us through an example of a Learning Lab trajectory? What might that look like?
It starts with an onboarding and a period where you need to get to know each other, and that you do the effort to become part of the community, let's say, and that you learn about the tools and the methods we use. That takes like 2 weeks. Then the students work on a real challenge. It's mostly a wicked problem or a complex problem, because only with complex problems and wicked problems, you need interdisciplinarity, you need those soft skills. The students work on them, they choose one, and they start with a desk research, as you do traditionally. They do that for 1 week. And from then on, we go with the flow of the design thinking methodology, and we go with service design. Those service design iterative circles, we combine them with the learning circle. And that's how the personal growth and the career growth is evolving. After 6 weeks, they present or they showcase a concept, and at the end, they showcase a tested prototype.
And when do you involve the potential users of the solution?
They are involved, chosen by the learners and the stakeholders, but actually all the time.
Okay.
And for sure in the beginning, when you need to empathize with them and when you need to know all their insights, and absolutely in the prototype testing.
Yeah. And isn't it difficult to find people who want to be engaged during all these different stages?
From my experience, it isn't, because the challenge is given by an organization, and connected to that organization, the end user is already a kind of known.
Yeah, okay. So these organizations, they also help to find people to test the possible solution. Okay, yeah, now I get it. As we wrap up, are there any key lessons you've learned from your experiences on the learning labs that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I think there is no one-size-fits-all approach, because it's tailored to a particular challenge and it's tailored to a particular context. You can have the framework, but you need to make it tailored case by case. So that's one thing, you need to be flexible all the time. That's very important. Otherwise, you become a traditional program, and that's not the aim. Another thing is students build a lot of resilience, dealing with risks, becoming more comfortable, being in an ambiguous situation, things like that, being part of such a lab. And I think for the future, that's very important as well. If we look how professionals need to act nowadays, it's very important that also in the period you go for education or to the university, that you have experience with the context you will go to.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Isabelle, for sharing these valuable insights. It's clear that the learning labs at Artevelde University of Applied Sciences are having a significant impact. So thank you very much for being here. Next in our series of bite-sized conversations, we'll be finding out about the Comon initiative, and we have Line with us to tell us all about it. Hello, Line.
Hi, Sara.
Welcome to our podcast. Can you introduce Comon to our listeners and share your role in this initiative?
Well, we're in Ghent here, and Ghent is a great place to live, but we want to make it an even better place to live. And maybe we could use technology for solutions to make the living even better here, and that is Comon.
You are quite a unique initiative. What makes Comon stand out as a unique project?
So what is really unique about it is that we bring together people that might not find each other so easily. So we talk about unusual collaborations. Imagine that a student worked together with a scientist and a policymaker and maybe an entrepreneur and some citizens. This building here is also something that makes us quite special because all of the partners are here together. So we find each other. But also the Krook is a place where, let's say, 3,000, 4,000 people a day are coming to visit the library or have a nice coffee in the house or maybe have a meeting here in the house. So it's a nice place to get in conversation with people from Ghent. And then maybe we use technology. Expertise here in the building around technology is something new for people, so you can really feel technology. That is also something that people like to see, to learn about, things like that.
I hear Comon is currently focusing on making movement through the city more enjoyable. Why is this such an important challenge?
We see an opportunity in the fact that in the city we move daily. We go to our jobs, we go to the school, we go to the supermarket, and we can see that as an opportunity to get a more healthy lifestyle. It's not about intense sporting
workouts.
No, not about workouts, indeed, but it's on every step that you can take by foot, by bicycle, instead of the car, something else, to just get a more healthy lifestyle. And when we talked with the people of Ghent in the very beginning of our project about this societal challenge, and we also learned that for Ghentian people, it has to be fun.
I would never thought about it. That would be like an input from the Ghentians that they need more fun to move more. But okay, yeah, creating a healthier, more active city takes time, I imagine. How does Comon tackle such a big challenge?
We do that by a step-by-step approach. So first we collect challenges, and then we choose one challenge, and then we start this whole journey. First we talk to a lot of people to know the problem, what makes us not want to move. We know that it's important for a healthy lifestyle, but still we don't move enough. So we talk to experts, we talk to Ghentians, we talk to everybody that has an experience or has an expertise on that team. And then we brainstorm solutions with technology as a part of the solution. And then, of course, we go and create something. So Comon is all about experimenting. So we go prototyping to get one solution with technology as a part of the solution that really can help us move through the city in a pleasant way. And then at the end, always we go evaluating and to learn about what did we do. We think we can always improve our own way of working. So that are the phases that we go through.
I really like how interactive and inclusive the process sounds. Now, what kind of activities do you organize to bring all these ideas to life? You mentioned that a lot of people come to the Krook every day, that you go into interaction with all the visitors, but how do you do that?
Yeah, for example, the beginning of the journey, we have this crowdsourcing campaign. So we are here in the Krook, in the library, to talk with everybody that passes by, and that we ask about their experiences, and there we collect challenges. So we had 40 or 50 challenges there, and then we had this voting campaign, public voting. We organized this makeathon that is especially for students, a makeathon where they build prototypes of their own innovative ideas. Nice activities also, the dialogue tables, that's in a phase where we want to know more about the problem. Then we go to different districts of Ghent to talk with people about what is their own experience on the problem. What makes it a problem? When do they feel that it's difficult to get moving? What are the barriers? And also, which dreams do they have if we think about moving more together on a pleasant way in the streets?
Okay, it sounds like Comon offers great opportunity also for personal development. What do participants gain from being involved?
Students learn about an innovation process. They learn about the importance of prototyping, but also business planning. They also learn a lot by working together with students from totally other disciplines. For partners, for example, they get in touch with other organizations or persons or experts that they would not see in their own bubble. For the citizens of Ghent, it's meaningful because they learn also about what makes life good in Ghent and how can we make it even better, and what is the role of technology and what can technology do or can't do. And we reflect on the ethical consequence of technology, for example. So they really get this critical perspective on it. For the city of Ghent, for example, it's meaningful because through a project like Comon, you get inspired on what is really going on in the city just by watching our videos or reading about how other citizens participated and what they learned or stuff like that.
Okay, sounds like you really highlight what is going on in the city with different groups of people. with the Comon project, and that there are still a lot of opportunities here. So Line, thank you very much for being here, for sharing the exciting work you're doing with Comon. I'm convinced you're making a real impact on the future of Ghent, and that you're making it even better to live in our beautiful city.
It's a pleasure.
In this next short conversation, I'll be talking to Lobke van Damme about the Call for Challenges platform. Welcome, Lobke, in our podcast studio. You are part of the educational support team at Ghent University. Can you maybe start by telling us a bit about the Call for Challenges platform and your role in it?
The platform is an online platform that connects society with the university. Concretely, it connects teaching staff with organizations or companies who have challenges, and then teaching staff that want to work on those challenges with their students in their program.
Okay, and what is your role in the platform?
I manage the platform, which means that I do basic quality checks on everything that comes in. And I do promotion and communication because it's a platform, so it needs people on it. And I also try to look into the future and see what else we can do with the platform.
All right. Yeah, why did Ghent University decide to launch this platform in the first place?
Well, we do find that social embeddedness of education is very important. It really prepares students for the real world when there's actually society coming already into the program when they're studying. And it already existed. There was a person who was gathering teachers who wanted to work on real challenges and trying to find companies that had challenges to work with. There was a lot of mailing and a lot of manual labor even.
Yeah.
So that's when the platform as such came to exist.
Mm-hmm. And are there certain topics or themes the questions need to be about?
Everything is possible. It's not only challenges as well. So like challenges, mostly like wicked problems, really big things, but there's even teachers who want to find very clear, defined tasks for their students to work on that's already quite defined. Like they want to find companies that would like their marketing plan to be done.
Okay.
So that's not a challenge per se, but that's a real case, a real task to work on. It's very broad.
Yeah. Can you maybe give one example?
One challenge that was on there was how the night trains could look like in 2050, like in the future.
Okay.
So that was a really broad challenge. And then there was one about the orphan bikes in Ghent, what could be done about all the orphan bikes in Ghent. And there's just also just teachers looking for marketing plans or ways they can teach their students to process data. So like challenges in that field. So it's quite broad.
Now, what kind of impacts has the Call for Challenges had so far, and how do you measure its success?
Well, I think it's important to note that its current form is now in existence for just over a year. So, like the platform as it is right now is quite young still. So it's still hard to measure impact and success.
Are there any other challenges or obstacles you've experienced so far?
Well, that's one of the biggest ones, but also that we do want to see if the collaboration, how it goes, and if it would need some more educational support to be really a successful collaboration when it's about societal impact and societal embeddedness in education. So we don't really know that as well. And also, well, a platform, it needs a critical mass. It's possible to scale, but it takes a lot of effort to scale. So communication and promotion and getting all the teachers informed about the existence and having all the companies and organizations that could possibly be interested on the platform is still a big challenge because not everyone knows and you don't know who to reach or how to reach them all. We try very hard, but you can still see that's a big challenge to find everyone.
Yeah, I can imagine. If there's another university somewhere else, what would be your advice to start a similar platform?
I would say that you should allocate enough time and effort into it, because we went from a person doing a lot of manual labor to a platform. And I think many people then thought, oh, it's going to take less time and effort, when that's actually not true. You still need someone to be really responsible for the platform, to really manage it, to really do all the communication. So do not think that you're done when the platform is ready, but because there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, now we've looked back, but if we are looking forwards, what does the future hold for the platform?
Well, if I can dream, because you never know. Well, obviously, just growing the platform in quantity, more challenges, more courses, more people on it, more connections, more collaborations. But I would also like to see it grow beyond university, and that to get other higher education institutes on there, so you can get real interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary collaborations on it, and maybe even different courses or different student groups from different programs working on the same challenge, and to have like these crazy collaborations. That would be really cool. And more educational support, that we could deliver more educational support to get real societal impact, that we could even go through forms of collaboration that a challenge is worked on many different years with different student groups, and that you get real impact. Those are all things I would like to see happen, and I will try to work towards, but we'll see, of course.
Yeah, okay, that sounds like a very nice dream. I hope sometimes dreams come true, so I hope yours will. Thank you so much, Lobke, for being here and for sharing your experiences with us today.
Thank you.
Welcome to the fourth case of our bite-sized conversations with leaders in the field of city-university collaboration around community-engaged research and learning. Today I'm with An Keppens to learn about the Campus in the Neighbourhood project from Artevelde University of Applied Sciences. Welcome, An, in our studio. You are the neighbourhood anchor on this project. Can you explain what your job involves?
Well, it started a few years ago when Artevelde wanted to build a new campus in a vulnerable neighborhood. And with the help of the ESF call Learning, Living and Working in 2050, there become with the concept of neighborhood in the campus in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And so I'm the neighborhood anchor. My role is that I had to be a key connection between the institution and the local community. That involves building relationships with neighborhood organizations, residents, stakeholders, but of course also with the city services and the neighborhood manager of the city. We have to strengthen ties between the University of Applied Science and the surrounding area. I'll try to do that by identify local needs in the neighborhood, initiate collaborative projects, ensure that the academic institution contributes to community development through practical knowledge and to resources, and at least a neighborhood anchor acts to be a bridge, fostering mutual benefits between the university and the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. And how did you get in touch with the people of the neighborhood?
I'm trying to be there as much as I can. Yeah. So it can be like there is an organization of a breakfast for the neighbors. Then I go to take a breakfast or a barbecue in the summer.
Okay, that sounds like a nice aspect of a job.
That's the informal part.
Yeah.
But further on, every 3 months, there is a team with all social organizations in the neighborhood. And I'm also there. So it's formal and informal.
Yeah. You don't only eat
no.
at your job. Okay.
God, no.
Okay, that sounds like a very fun job to do. But what are the key goals you hope to achieve with this project?
We hope to achieve a win-win for everyone by, for example, working on an accessible infrastructure for the neighborhood organization. It means easy to book, easy accessible with badges or something like that, for meetings of teams of organizations, or for community activities, or in our sports hall. So the accessible infrastructure is the first one for the organizations, but we also will open public spaces for the public in the neighborhood. Like tomorrow, we will open a garden in an historical campus in the middle of the city of Ghent. And from tomorrow on, people of the neighborhood are welcome there, and it will be a quiet place so they can have a rest if they want to, because there is very less green area in that neighborhood. The third thing we want to achieve is that students are educated in and within the neighborhood. They are actively involved in projects and learning experience that take place in the neighborhood. They will earn real life skills, real world skills in directly communication with citizens of the neighborhood. A fourth achievement we want to have is the university participate active in the neighborhood. We are a part of the team of social workers in the area, and the last achievement we want to reach is that the vision of community campus is integrated in and shared out throughout the whole organization of our University of Applied Science and to external parties. Dus the external partners can contact me if they have a question where we can go to work on with our students.
Okay, so if an external party has a question related to the neighborhood, I guess
yes, of
they
course.
contact you, and then you can make a
we
team.
We can try for what kind of students we can connect to the neighborhood question.
Okay, that's super interesting. The buurtcampus sounds like a rather flexible concept. Can you share some examples on how it's being used?
Yes, the first example is already 3 years ago, but when we started. It was to inspire the architects for the building plan of a new campus. Together with students, we did a survey in the neighborhood, in a very vulnerable neighborhood, what were the greatest needs of the citizens there. And it seems that there was nothing for youth. The youth of that area has no place to go somewhere inside. With this answer, we went to the city services. Now they promised that they want to rent big space in the new campus that has to be built, and they will open there a youth center.
Okay.
So that was the first, was a big one.
Yeah.
So
we
want to go on with it. There is also a collaboration with the City of Ghent Sport Department, and they give reduced rates for vulnerable children, so they can come with their parents to sport classes given by our students and their teachers. Maybe the last important one is a National Elderly Week we have in Flanders. In that week, we have 3 campuses where elderly people of the neighborhood can come to follow lessons together with the students.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Then you have the mixture of age. Maybe to finish our talk, what would you advise to other cities who want to start similar initiatives?
The first and the last will be, don't hesitate, just start.
Yeah.
But maybe I give some more. It's important to start as early as possible to influence planning. So
even before the buildings are erected.
Even before the
yes.
If you have the possibility, start before the building plans are ready. If you don't have to start with a new campus, just do it in another campus, but start small.
Yeah.
It's very important also to look for long-term local partners.
Okay.
And last, have patience.
It doesn't come very easy.
It doesn't come very easy, and sometimes it's trial and error and trial again, and then, yes, it is. Just start with it. Don't hesitate.
Okay. Maybe that's the most important message of this interview. So thank you, Anne, for joining us today and sharing your experiences.
Thank you.
In this final bite-sized conversation on this episode of our Learning from Ghent podcast, we're going to hear all about the Stadsacademie from its coordinator, Charlotte Prové. Charlotte, thank you for being here and welcome in our podcast. Could you maybe start by introducing yourself and tell us why the Stadsacademie was created?
I am the coordinator of the Stadsacademie at Ghent University. I've been doing this job for 4 years, and before that I was about 8 years in research myself on mostly social aspects of sustainable and urban food systems. And the Stadsacademie is a platform for collaboration on wicked sustainability issues of Ghent and Ghent University. Through transdisciplinary research and education, we try to create new insights and forge collaborations.
Yeah, the Stadsacademie creates what we call a third space, a safe space for open debate. Why is this third space so important?
We learned this while doing. We realized, we are this third space that's a bit our function in this city. In transdisciplinary settings, we bring together students, professors, academia, policymakers, civil society organizations, cultural organizations. And whether we want it or not, there's always a hierarchy in this. And students could be intimidated by their professors, for instance, or vice versa, so many people. We bring people together that are all involved or interested in a certain topic, but they usually don't see each other outside that. So they might all be involved or interested in social housing, but they might see each other for the first time. But they have a different role. They might be a student or a policymaker. And so we try to create that equal space to collaborate. So that people will share their knowledge or their position, because that's what it's all about, that we can exchange different ideas, different perspectives, that we learn from others. And it's a context we learned. Not many of these contexts or places to experiment exist outside the Stadsacademie. So in order to have a true debate or to work on a problem definition, you really need to have that safe space.
Could you tell us a bit more about the masterproef ateliers, or translated literary master's thesis workshops you're running with the Stadsacademie?
Maybe I'll call them master thesis studios.
Okay.
I think that translates best. In the studios, we focus on a very concrete research question that fits within that trajectory. So, for instance, it could be on food democracy or sustainability in social housing. And there's always an expert. It can be a team, policymakers versus a postdoctoral research, for instance, and they develop such a master thesis studio. And together with students from different disciplines, for instance, architecture and spatial planning, sociology student in economics. So we seek students from different disciplines, and they will all make their thesis related to this question. At the same time, we look for urban partners to also collaborate in this trajectory for a whole academic year. So students, they keep making their own thesis with their own supervisors, but we develop this transdisciplinary layer on top of their dissertation.
So that's the part on their master theses. Are there other ways on which students and maybe also partners benefit from being involved in the Stadsacademie?
Yeah, I think in the first place, what we stress is that the Stadsacademie is a platform, so it's not a center of expertise. And the Stadsacademie only becomes what people collectively invest in it. So if you want to engage with the Stadsacademie and think, what will I take out of it, then that's not the purpose of the Stadsacademie. That said, I think in my experience, what I've seen over the past 4 years is that everyone involved takes something out of it. You see that the students, well, they're in a much richer context. Also in the job market, I often see them.
You meet them again.
I keep meeting them again in the fields in which they were doing their research, probably also because they were good students anyway. Also, it's a context where both academia and policymakers, they build networks. They become part of a collaboration that they weren't part of before.
even, for instance, professors in urban planning that work on a specific topic, I would have assumed they know their colleagues at Ghent University, but from different departments, but often they do not.
Okay.
So it's a great place to meet people, I think. But also for future collaborations, I see it now. We worked on urban renewal in one project, and now I see, okay, all these people, they meet again, they ask each other again. Policymakers ask certain academia. So it's a good place to build long-lasting collaborations.
Yeah, it sounds like a win-win for everyone involved. Can you maybe give us some key lessons you've learned when working with the Stadsacademie?
The Stadsacademie is an important place to be able to slow down, and it's something we are not used to do anymore, to free ourselves from the regular project logics, but also in policy making. Policymakers, they often don't get that time anymore to slow down and to reflect and take a lot of time for problem definition. I see that as one of the most interesting starting points to come together, build partnerships or a network, and then take a lot of time to what actually are the questions around this? What are good questions? What do we not know yet? I also learned, like, we work on a lot of issues. That's like the content, what we work on, but the process and the methodologies is at least as important, the transdisciplinarity. So yeah, for me, the key lessons, because we are an experimenting platform and we learn by doing, these key lessons, they come over time as we are learning from our previous collaborations and projects.
All right, Charlotte, thank you for sharing your experience on the Stadsacademie. The least I can say, it's very inspiring to see how universities, cities can work together on sustainability issues in this way. So thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
Join us for the final episode, where I'll be having a conversation with Professor Van Winden and Dr. Dean. We'll summarize the key lessons from everything we've covered in this series so far, and we'll also look at what the future holds for community-engaged learning. So tune in next time, and bye for now.